Okay, Jai Hind everyone. My name is Nikhil Kumar. I'm the faculty of Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College as an assistant professor in the IT department. So today we have covered the topic that is the NoSQL, that is based on the big data. It is the concept of the big data that will be the subject of the third year CS and its allied branch. Before these lectures, it is very important to discuss that we have covered the number of lectures regarding the big data. Approx 3 to 4 lectures have been covered, so you can go through these lectures. So the idea of all the topics will be summarized. So today we will cover the concept that is the NoSQL. We know very well that before the NoSQL concept, we have the RDBMS. That is the relational database management system, and it is totally based on the static structure formations, and it will be the cover of the dynamic nature. That means the data will be updated randomly, and when it will update its value at the time of the frictional moment, it will reflect to somewhere else, so that and it will repeat its value in a proper manner. So there are some concept and mechanisms through which we comes from RDBMS to the NoSQL, because RDBMS is based on the static structures values, and NoSQL is connect with the huge amount of data will be reflect in multi-dynamic mode and in the dynamic fashion. So there is a huge difference. Through it, we comes from the RDBMS to the NoSQL formations. NoSQL is just like the structure query language in the big data concept, where the huge amount of files will store somewhere, and when it will be required, it will update soon, and it will reflect all the values, all the database values, and it comes from one by one when it will be retrieved. So basically the NoSQL concept connect with these terms that is mentioned here. The first one is it is a non-relational data storage system, because RDBMS, it is just like the totally opposite to the RDBMS. The second one is the no fixed table schema. We know very well. Let's suppose we have an example. This is the database value, database where some values are stored here, like serial number, name, and roll number. Okay. So what will we do? If we want to add on some values in the existing database, in the just the relational database management system, so what we will require, the mandatory condition is same schema should be there. That means whatever we have in the existing fixed schema, if such schema is exist, so we can put the similar type of values in the existing schema. Otherwise, some value will be missed, or we cannot manipulate and add on the existing applications, existing database value. So that are the drawback of the fixed table schema, and due to these limitations, we switch to the NoSQL theory. Okay. Let's suppose we want to add on the next value, that is the serial number is 4, the name is A, and the row number is 10. Let's suppose, and some more values want to be add on, that is related to this connect with the terms, that is a connect the data value, that is a 4. Let's suppose it's the branch is also mentioned. So in case of the static database, that is just like the RDBMS concept, we cannot add directly these values, because there is a predefined schema is mentioned, which is not the feasible for the existing data values, so we cannot add on. But in case of the no fixed table schemas concept, that is the part of the NoSQL theory. That means different type of database values we can be directly mapped and it can be used in the NoSQL. That means there is no any concept of the fixed schema structure. no joins, that means whatever the joins operator we will use in the RDMS, just like the inner, outer joins and the someone others, there is no any concept of the joins operator, no multi-document transactions. The delay that will be occurred to transact one position to other one, there is a smooth transactions, that means directly it will be reflect to the other one. Relax one or more acid property, that means when it does not support the RDMS concept, which is totally based on the acid property. We know very well that acid property is the full proof property of the RDMS, where acid connect with the atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability. We will not take much more time about discuss what is the acid property, because in the last previous lectures we already discussed all these terms. So what are the types of NoSQL? We know what are the requirement of NoSQL. So now we come to the type of NoSQL. It is based on 4 types. The database value. First one is the key value data storage. Second one is the column oriented data storage. Third one is a document data store, and fourth one is the graph data store. Whatever the type we have collect for the data storage value, we have categories in particular 4 different data storage value. The examples of key value data storage is React, Redis and the Members. In case of the column oriented data storage, what is the actual examples are the Cassandra, HBase and the hypertables. These are the part of the syllabus curriculum. The third one is the document data storage, where is the most important terms we have already discussed, and somewhere we will listen. The example is the MongoDB, CouchDB and the RavenDB. Most probably you all know about the term MongoDB. Some point we will discuss about the MongoDBs also. Graph data store connect with the infinite graph, Neo4 and Allegro graphs. Now basically the MongoDB provide a mechanism. Just come to the last slide where we mentions that if such data is not stored in that particular way, so it is the limitations of the RDMS. So we comes to the NoSQL theory, where let's suppose we take the example of the Mongos, where due to the Mongos, that means basically when we want to map the number of, we know that let's suppose a file that have the memory space that is 500 MB or more than 500 MB. So we divide these space into the number of chunks that have the multiples of 128 MB. So what we will do, it will be divided into the number of chunks of the 128 MBs, and some more data will be in the last one, it will be connected less than 128 MB to complete this total space of the 500 MB. So what is the means? That means to map from the name node to the data node particularly, it is the job of the Mongos, because Mongo provide a framework where the mapping is have been done in the smooth way. What are the advantages of NoSQL? So these are the advantages of NoSQL. First one is that it is cheap in quality, cheap in the finance value, because it does not require the some external tool applications and some other thing to manipulate all the values. Easy to implement. There are some applications, and basically there are some syntax based command that we will be basically using the Linux वगैरह. So we will use to use of the NoSQL. It is easy to implement, easy to distribute, can easily scale up and down. That means let's suppose the data value is we want to scale up in the existing database. So it is too easy to handle scale up and to scale down the all the values. It also provides the relax the data consistency throughout the mechanism. It does not require the predefined schema, because it is the particular limitations of the RDMS concepts. Data can be replicated to multiple nodes and can be partitioned. We know very well. Let's suppose we have the name node, or namespace is mentioned here. These are the data node. So basically, name node provide a mechanism where the actual data are stored, and it will be done through all the mechanisms through the mapping process. We take the one common example in the previous lectures, that let's suppose there is a topic that is mentioned in any book, and you have the fixed time that you have to find out the which page number this topic is mentioned. So what the theory or what is the concept you will use to find the particular topic. So there is the one options that you start from the first page to last one, and you can randomly check out the number that particular topic in the book, complete book. And the third and best option is you have to choose the mapping options, and you have to find the where such topic can be exist, and you directly move to that particular way. So that are the part of the name node and data node. Throughout these compilations and mapping process, we come to the point that directly unstructured data also be mapped. So it will be the property of the NoSQL. It is the advantage of NoSQL. So who are the vendors of the NoSQL? The company that support for these products that are the part of the, or we can say the tools of the NoSQL, that is the DynamoDB, Cassandra, and Big Data tables. Is Amazon introduce and implement the DynamoDB, Facebook introduced the Cassandra, and Google introduced the Big Table. Most widely used by these companies. These are the worldwide company, and mostly a high level of company that use the number of data at scale up companies that use a huge number of client, customer, and their particular data. So these are the particular examples where such product or tools are be directly used. What are the difference between the SQL versus the NoSQL? SQL is the concept of the RDBMS, where the NoSQL are the part of the big data concept, where the data are stored in the multiple file and dynamically it will update its values. What are the difference between SQL and NoSQL? First one is the relational database are the part of the SQL, whereas the non-relational RDBMS are the part of the NoSQL. That are the part of the DBMS. It is the relational model. It is model-less approach. It is a predefined schema is done. And here we use the dynamic schema concept. It is based on a table-based database because it forms the row and column orientations model have been generated because it is based on the fixed formations. It is based on the fixed formation, and it is based on the document-based, graph-based, wide column area, key values area that we have already discussed in the last slide. That are the 4 different approaches there where the data is stored. Vertically scalable is done by the concept of the SQL theory. Why it will be done? When we have the number data files and we want in the existing schema, we want to add on some values, it will be add on the vertical formations. Here it will be add on. So it is the vertically scalable, but in case of the NoSQL theory, that is the horizontally scalable because different type of files will be added on in the horizontal way. It uses the SQL, it uses the unQL, that is the unstructured query language, not preferred for the large database, whereas it's smoothly done by the largely preferred for large database. And shown all these properties just the examples of the SQL theory, and here we mention the NoSQL way. So now there are some limitations in the NoSQL. So due to the limitations of RDBMS SQL theory, we switch to the NoSQL. Now due to the limitations of NoSQL, we move to the new SQL. So new SQL connect with these characteristics. First one is SQL interface for application interactions is widely simple and can be directly usable. ACID support for the transactions of data. In the SQL formations, there is the ACID property. NoSQL case, there is ACID property is missing, but here we directly convey the ACID property. In case of the NoSQL, in the big data analysis case, we have the reverse cap theorem that is connect with the theorem that is the consistency, availability, and the partition tolerance. An architecture that provides the higher per node performance versus the traditional RDBMS approach. It is just like the we access the any file from the hard disk to the cache memory, so the speed of the new SQL will be too much, approx 100 times faster than the existing applications. That is the RDBMS case. Scale out shared nothing architecture have been done, non-locking concurrency control mechanisms so that real time read will not conflict with the write up approach. Sometimes we have faced some difficulty in the RDBMS case for the data fetch and we retrieve the dirty read concept, but here all things have been done very clearly. So there are some difference. What are the on the basis of the SQL, NoSQL, and NewSQL on the basis of the particular properties. So whatever we have discussed, these are the difference on the basis of these properties. The right approach to write down the questions in the exam point of view, we have to, let's suppose we want to differentiate these three terms. So on their particular properties, we have to categorize and find out the particular difference. So that is the right approach to write the questions in the exams. So on the basis of Hadoop, there are two options. From the first side of Hadoop is the Apache open source software framework because it is licensed by the Apache open source software companies, and it is inspired by the two terms. First one is the Google MapReduce and second one is the Google File System, that is the GFS, and it is further categorized in the form in the Hadoop distributed file system that is known to be the HDFS, and the second term is the MapReduce. It is basically used for the data storage and this produces the processing structure. The key advantage of Hadoop are, these are the key advantages. First one is the stores data in its native format, scalable, cost effective, resilient to failure, flexibility, and fast in service. All these properties already discussed in the last lectures. The versions of Hadoop are this one. In Hadoop version 1, the MapReduce and HDFS are the two basic domain where we will work, and in version 2 we add on some extra property and some extra tools to support the Hadoop structure formation. MapReduce is used for the data processing. Some other tools are also used. Yarn, that is yet another resource negotiator, is used for the resource manager. HDFS provide the redundancy, reliability, storage concept. So these are the, this diagram reflect the Hadoop ecosystem where the number of tools are mentioned for different purpose. Here Ambry provide the provisioning, managing, and monitoring Hadoop cluster formations. The Scoop provide the SQL in Hadoop structures is the basic formations of Scoop. SQL in Hadoop that provide the relational database data collector. Mahout provide the machine learning technique in the big data concept. Pig is the data flow. R provide the statics. Hive is the data warehouse. OG provide the workflow from where to where it will be proceed. Zookeeper provide all the coordination between all the tools that we have discussed here. HBase provide the distributed table store. MapReduce is the distributed processing. Flume and Chakwa provide the log data collectors values. Multiple times some values are updated, so which time period which value is updated from the which one, so that is the part of the Flume and Chakwa. The next one is the HDFS that provide the Hadoop distributed file system. And after that, we on the next slides we discuss all these tools in the some descriptive nature. So thank you class for joining these lectures. In the next lectures, we'll discuss some more terms about the Hadoop and big data theory. So thank you for attending these lectures.